Today we're with Ryan from Borilla Glass. We've really been looking forward to seeing what these guys are up to. Such a beautiful art form. Ryan?
Yeah, thanks for having us here. Well, this is our new studio. We were set up in Benoni. I've been doing glass for many years since I studied at TUT in the early 2000s. This is kind of like a new journey, a new direction that we're going with our glass now, trying to bring in all of the smokeware and stuff with with regards to the cannabis industry and all that. So it's kind of been one of those things I've been wanting to get into for many years, because it was the biggest question that ever got asked of me every time I went anywhere, and it said that I would make glass, and they're like, "Oh, can you make me a bong or a pipe?" so now we kind of eventually started to drift towards this thing, especially since I've been involved in the industry myself for many years.
Where does that love come from? Have you always been a partaker in cannabis?
Yes, for quite a long time, to a more social level than that, but in terms of the appreciation of the plant and the benefits of it, for a lot longer than that.
Well, we know smoking really inspires their creativity, but at the same time, is it not a little bit dangerous to be smoking and working with such art?
No, not really, because you go into like a flow state when you're working with glass. So I would say maybe when you're learning, you want to have all of your, your focus on keeping in control of what you're doing, so that you don't hurt yourself. But once you're used to it and you know what you're doing, it's second nature. It's like riding a bike, that kind of thing. You know what to do, so it actually can help increase on your creativity and make better artworks in the end.
You say getting into it now, but has paraphernalia or smokeware always been a part of your journey?
In a sense, yes. And I used to make a few little, like, your old school steel connection pipes with your plumbing joints and all that kind of thing for friends, because I've always worked with my hands and done a lot of stuff involving art. And Theuns, who's the other glass blower here as well, he's also been making pipes out of wood and things, that kind of stuff for years. So glass is just a natural progression, because it's just such a beautiful art form and medium to work with.
One of our heroes, Jules, absolutely loved smoking from beautiful art pieces, and a lot of stoners do. How is it possible for other stoners or like-minded people to get involved in glass blowing?
Well, we do classes here as well. We've got a bench set up that we can have up to 4 people at a time doing glass. You won't be able to do as big pieces as we're doing, but you've got to start somewhere. It's slower. There's a learning curve to glass, and once you get past that, then it just opens up from there. So we're very welcoming to have people come here and learn with us and learn from us, and they can even hire the studio space to make this stuff. So if you don't want to buy your own equipment, or you can't yet, you're welcome to just come and rent the studio space and have us be able to give you pointers on growing and getting where you want to go with it. And then in the end, if you do want to get it, we have all the contacts to be able to get the equipment and help anybody set up, because we want to grow this market here. And there are a few glass blowers that do this in the country. I know there's Armand from Praxis I think he's in PE or something. There's also a lady in Cape Town, I think, from Skunk Glass, and a couple other small people here and there. There's Michael Rapkin just down the road from us here. He also does some of his stuff is in our showcase here as well. So we like to showcase other artists to work as well. We want to have this be like a collaboration space where people can come and share on their love of the plant and the glass and the art and everything together.
So some glass blowing with the torch and some glass blowing in a glory hole. What are the differences? Are there different glasses that you use?
Yes. For the most part, the cannabis ware and the smokeware and that is made on the torch for 2 reasons. One, because we use borosilicate glass, which mainly comes in tubes and rods. So we use that, then remelt it in front of the torch, and then apply the colors and however we want to do it and manipulate it from there. There are a few places in the States that do blowing with the blowing iron and the glory hole with borosilicate glass, but it's not many places. We want to try and bring it in here slowly, because we have a furnace at the back here that we are busy working on, and it's got a loose crucible inside it, so we'll be able to swap it out for different types of glass. So because there's the heat that you have with obviously when you're lighting anything, or when you torching the banger or whatever on there, you want to be using either borosilicate or quartz for that. But definitely, if it's a banger, you want quartz. You can make them out of borosilicate, but they don't last as long. But quartz is extremely difficult to work and is very, very expensive. We're kind of getting into it now. There's not a lot of torches around that can actually work it that are locally available. We do have one of them, but it's quite a different process working with that because of the temperature range. And then as far as normal glass, studio glass as I call it, is what you use for making your plates and your vases and sculptures and everything that I did from when I started studying. That is not really great for smokeware unless you're making what we are going to be doing, making large bongs, like big ones with major embellishments and that on them, but then they'll be using like one of your down stems that go inside it rather than have it being part of that. So that'll open up the scope and the size that we can work with when we do that. It's just going to be a different way of using it together, because if the glasses are not compatible, you can't fuse them together. So you have to use them, with each other essentially. So like most rigs that you buy nowadays would be borosilicate rigs with a quartz banger on it. You can't attach them together. Or you could make a whole rig out of quartz if you could melt it down and actually do that. I know there are some around, especially in America, but I haven't seen any locally. So maybe we'll be making some of the first ones when we start messing around with that.
You've been building quite an awesome thing here, and we're all looking forward to see what you guys have in the future. What is the goal from here? What is the plan forward?
Well, for the most part, we want to try and bring in the pipe culture here to South Africa the way that it is in America, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of glass blowers in America that are making these pipes, and I mean, they're artworks to themselves. But there not being as many people doing it here, we want to try and open that up. So we want to encourage people to get into this and take it up as a hobby and start making it, and we want our space to be somewhere where people can launch from. So we're already stocking a few other people's artwork here in the shop that we sell, because we've got the space for it here and the platform, and we want to grow it further from there, and not only in the smokeware, also in other things like jewelry as well, and functional wear and artworks that people want to have in their house. They want to have everything being done, but it has to be kind of all inclusive and showing that everything deserves to be on the same level. Generally people tend to, a lot of the normal community, if you want to put it that way, tend to view a lot of cannabis related stuff as being fringe and out on the outskirts of general society. So we want to bring that in where it's involved with everything else. Like we're right next to a gallery displaying paintings and other artworks. We've got our stuff being displayed here, and we want it to be included in that space where people can engage with it on the same kind of level. So yeah, we want to invite anybody who's interested to come through here, collaborate with us. If you want any custom made pieces, you can come and get it made by us as well. You can even make it with us if you want to have a bit of a hand in doing it yourself, or you want to learn. We open to almost anything. I want to take this as far as we can and just start opening up this thing in South Africa.